Hey, we're live. Welcome to another episode of Late Night Take 3. It's going to be a fun one today. We're talking about Indiana Jones. Because why else would Matt be dressed like that?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't put it past me for this to just be an everyday attire.
Malcolm, who are you to judge another man's style? I mean, come now, sir.
Yeah, what
Let
if
us
this?
all be
What if this is
accepting.
just what I wear?
He could be in the heart of the Congo for all we know.
But
Yeah, that
Where's that
Congo right there with
It-
posters all over.
The Democratic Republic of the Congo is what I meant to say, like in heart of Africa.
but as always, Matt's here. Matt's, how's it
Oh,
going?
nothing. There's two Congos.
I don't know what we're talking about here.
There's two
I'm doing fantastic. We're talking about the heart of Congo or Africa or something. But what we are actually talking about is one of my favorite subjects in this world, which is the man with the hat, Indiana Jones, Dr. Jones, Jr., Henry Jones Sr., Henry Jones Jr. He goes by many names. I love Indiana Jones. We'll get into it. I will bring up a part of Indiana Jones that many people don't know about. And we're doing this because it's the 40th anniversary of Raiders of the Lost Ark. So, of course, obviously, because of that, I dressed as Temple of Doom, Indy. So.
But also
I have a
here we
machete.
got Mgm Jones. Manning, how's it going?
For all those who have gone to YouTube and know what this reference is, congrats on to y'all. But welcome, Dr. Jones. We have caught you red-handed now. Give over the Holy Grail. Don't know how they do, but I feel like every villain is like, hello, Dr. Jones. I have followed you all across the world now.
See,
And
what's
I have-
weird is it seemed like at first you were doing a tote, but then you start talking about the Grail. If you talk about the Ark, but fortunately.
That's true. I don't know, but the Grail is the first thing I think of for some reason, more so than the Ark. I guess it's because why I shows you which one my favorite is. But anyway, yeah, it's exciting to be here. And if you can catch out what my. Do you guys know what this was a reference to?
It's
Honestly,
like a porn.
no, I just thought you were trying to be clever.
Nope.
No porn.
Nope.
I haven't.
Nope. Okay. Well, I will link it in the chat.
I'm really
also-
afraid about what the hell link we're gonna get here.
But also here, we've got the very normal Abe. I'm used to him having either Destroyer or something as his screen name. But Abe, how's it going?
Look, I thought I just read India, and I thought we were talking about the Indianapolis Colts. So I came ready with Peyton Manning trivia, Johnny United stats, why John Elway didn't want to get drafted there, and everything about Jimmy and the Colts.
What the fuck?
No,
But it's all right.
Fuck Marvel. I got it in there.
But it's all good. I've got the bracket of sports peoples all ready to go.
I
Wait,
look
are we
so
actually
great
doing
today.
a bracket? Because I was the only person who commented on that post.
I can neither confirm nor deny.
I hope we are. I feel like whenever I want a bracket to happen, Malcolm doesn't make a bracket.
But before we get into the main topic, go.
What's the
few other
difference
things
between
that-
bracers and brackets?
What?
What?
I swear, I know you didn't say it, but it sounded like you said there's a difference between racists and brackets. I'm like, yeah,
That is not
pretty
what he
big
said.
one.
I think you
There
said
is.
braces, not
Okay.
races.
Also, Manning was doing racist stereotypes right now, and I'm a racist stereotype. So
When was I doing that?
when you were doing impressions or something
Oh,
like
yeah,
that, I
That's
don't
a
know what-
German man. That is literally a white as you can
He
get
was-
usually time.
Look, he was doing a Nazi impression. He was making fun of them, and I mean, there's a very
I was making
select
fun
few
of
people.
those.
There's a very select
Yes.
few people who would get
We
offended
like making
by that.
fun of Nazis.
If you're in the comment section, you're offended by a Nazi joke, please let us know, and we definitely will not let the FBI know your whereabouts.
Manning once called me Speedy Gonzalez.
Whoa!
But anyway,
Hashtag cancel Manning Franks. I'm bringing it
But
back.
I've already
anyway-
been canceled. I think. Sorry. Go ahead, Malcolm.
but anyway, time to get this show back on the rails. But before we get into the main topic, we've got a few other things we'd like to talk about as well. First one we're going to do is the box office. This week, taking up the first place in box office is The Conjuring 3, The Devil Maybe Do It, or something like that. That came in first at 24 million. A Quiet Place 2 just got 19.5 million. Cruella got 11.2 million. Spirit Untamed got 6.2 million. And Raya and the Last Dragon is still hanging on at fifth place at 1.3 million. Matt, are you at all surprised by the box office?
Well, first off, I thought The Conjuring 3 was just called Conjuring 3, so I thought all those, The Devil Made Me Do It, I thought that was just a lie in the movie because I saw all the jokes on Twitter. Now I know that is not the case. That doesn't surprise me. From what I've seen, a lot of people are loving that movie. Quiet Place 2 being in did A Quiet Place 2 open this weekend, or was it last week?
Last week.
It opened last weekend.
So it being in second makes sense because now all the horror fans who saw A Quiet Place 2 are now seeing The Conjuring 3. That Spirit movie looks like a direct-to-video movie that somehow got released. Like, I saw people comparing the one about the fish people that's coming to Disney Plus, and they're like, how is this? Also, it's like a sequel to a movie from, like, 2002. Like, come on, DreamWorks. I mean, I guess Pixar waited, like, 20 years to do a sequel to The Incredibles, so I guess fair enough, but...
15.
15.
No.
It's not
13,
the years, honey.
13.
It's the mileage.
13.
And then what was the Raya? I guess it's. I mean, I guess for a kids movie, it's Raya or the horse one. So, I guess it's still holding on because of that. But you know what is going to be number one in a couple of weeks? Boss Baby 2, Family Business. Everyone get hyped. We're going to have a countdown. Started on ranking pretty soon.
No. No.
It's going to be great, guys. Me and Abe will do a watch along of the original Boss Baby to prep.
We will.
We should.
But anyway, Maddie, are you surprised by the box office?
I thought you were going to say my surprise by the Boss Baby every single day, Malcolm. Every day. He surprises me every day with what Alec Baldwin can do with that voice. No. Alec Baldwin's acting, it brings me to tears every day. Oh, the performance he had in Thomas the Tank Engine movie. You guys remember that? Oh, what a performance as the conductor.
Yeah,
no,
he was a fucking G for that, all right?
G. Some of the other questionable outside acting things aside. Anyway, no, I'm not really shocked. I'm more thrilled, honestly, that the box office is still doing relatively well, despite the fact that we are getting out of a pandemic at the moment. That said, I wish that, more people could obviously go see. Well, maybe I don't wish, because it kind of goes along the idea, because I think for the time being, we're going to be caught between this idea of, like, is this a good amount for the box office? Well, technically speaking, yes. I mean, not all the theaters are open just yet. Some things are still opening up across the world. And I think where we are is at a good pace. My theater, while they have opened back up, there are still spaces in between when you get specific tickets. So I think this is a relatively smart way to do things where we're not going full blast, but we're still doing really good numbers for the box office in comparison to last year. This is great. This is really, really good. And the fact that The Conjuring 3, while has gotten less... The reviews have not been as glowing as the previous two, but they've not been bad. They've been relatively mixed to high. And I think that this is just a good indication that, consistency is more so than anything. When things start to, people want to go to the theaters, as with Raya, as it showed, or Raya and the Last Dragon. It shows that people want to go see movies, and that's been in the top 5 for the past little bit, making like 1 point something almost every week. It shows that there's an appetite for people to go and some consistency. And I'm just hoping, like, for the fact that the box office can continue to roll in a positive way. I don't care what's at the top, even if it has to be Fast 9. If this at the end of the day works for just good box office numbers, I mean, sign me up. Also, I'm super happy that Cruella got some more money, but Disney, you made a mistake making that premium. You should have just gone directly to theaters, because this movie works in the theaters. Just saying.
But Abe, are you surprised by the box office?
No, I haven't followed box office since they messed up Box Office Mojo. That was one of my favorite sites. And
Wait.
I cannot navigate anymore.
When did that close?
No, they messed it up. They changed the setup and no, but not surprised. Like, well, I would have think the first Conjuring will make more money, but that opened on HBO Max, right? Too.
Mm-hmm.
So
I didn't hear that.
I think there's a reasoning behind that, because the last one opened, like, if I'm correct, like 40 million, 30 something. I don't know. But no surprises. Quiet Place hanging out. No surprise. Whoa, it dropped like a good amount, right? I think 50 something. So it's something to keep an eye on, because the last one got some back, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, because I think it opened up. The first one opened up at 47 million. And Cruella still did really well despite having the premier access as well. Because I think when that opened last time, there was about 20 million. But yeah. I mean, I'm not too surprised by the box office either, because I mean, clearly the people who went to see Quiet Place opening weekend went to see The Conjuring 3, because it's almost pretty close to 50% of that drop.
Wow, that's pretty funny. It's just like literally everyone who went to see it, and now everyone.
Yep.
Like next week, we'll see a 50% uptake from all the people who waited until this week to see A Quiet Place 2. Now next week they'll go and see The Conjuring.
But I mean, what the box office is going to look like next week is going to be interesting, because we've got In the Heights opening up. We've got and we've got Peter Rabbit 2 opening up as well.
I watched that one. I have watched that one. I've seen it.
How is it?
Fuck.
Look, I want to know what's in it. It got an X rating the last I saw. What's in it? What's Peter Rabbit do?
There's some action with some carrots and asses.
But yeah,
Happy
I mean,
Easter.
I hope no one from my work sees this.
yeah. But with that being said, moving on. Over the last few weeks, we have had a few trailers. We haven't had. I've only picked sort of the ones that I think are some big ones to talk about. But the ones I picked is we've finally got the first trailer for the Eternals movie. We've got a trailer for Edgar Wright's new movie Last Night in Soho. We got a trailer for Escape Room Tournament of Champions. We got a new trailer for Jungle Cruise. And we got a full trailer for Old, which is M. Night Shyamalan's new movie. Matt, have you seen any of these trailers?
Yes. I've seen Jungle Cruise, Old, and Eternals. So I guess I could talk about those. Jungle Cruise, it looks pretty fun. I still, and again, maybe this is a trailer, I'm wrong. I know I said here when the first trailer, I think, dropped, I said that I love The Rock, but I just think he maybe wasn't the best choice for, like, I don't know. There's something about seeing him in this.
He's too thick.
He's too, yeah, like, I feel like
He's too thick.
if
with
you
two
look
C's.
at, let's say, a Harrison Ford in a role like that, there's not that everymanness that I feel like they want when I watch that trailer. Like, I feel like if you got, say, if you wanted, like, a kind of beefier guy, if you got, say, I don't know, like a Mark Wahlberg or like a Ben Affleck, I feel like, you know, to where, like, they look good, but you're also like, I can also kind of believe you can maybe get your ass kicked in a fight. Whereas The Rock, it's like, I don't believe that you, like, it still looks fun. Emily Blunt looks great in the movie, but she's pretty much one of those really, like, consistently good actresses. It looks fun. I'm probably going to see it in theaters. If not, I'm going to be lazy as and wait until it comes out on Disney Plus because, well, if you listen to Gone with the Wind, Matt doesn't see movies. Old. I saw that they do this thing on YouTube sometimes where they'll have like a full trailer that you can skip in like 5 seconds. And it was before a video I was watching, but I was like, I'm kind of intrigued by this video. So I watched the whole trailer and I was like, huh. And then I saw it was M. Night Shyamalan. I went, God damn it. I was interested in that movie, but now I know there's going to be some stupid twist to this island. Great. Because I'm sorry, the days of Sixth Sense, Unbreakable, and Signs are long behind us. No, I have not seen Split or Glass, but I've seen Lady in the Water and stuff like that. I'm just like, maybe not. But hey, good on them for not leading with that title card, because then I would have skipped the ad. It looks interesting. I'm probably not going to... I know... I feel bad for him, because I feel like he is a punchy bag. Like, whenever I think of him as Shyamalan now, I don't think about, like, Unbreakable or Sixth Sense. I think of just the Robot Chicken sketch to where it's like, what they twist? But the dude consistently still does it. Like, I know that's like he's got a style. It looks interesting. This is probably going to be one of those movies that if it's on like Showtime or Netflix or something like that, I'll probably check it out just because the concept looks interesting. And then we get to Eternals. God, I can feel from this trailer there's going to be a whole lot of retconning. Because it's well established. They've been here for a while. So unless all the Eternals were snapped away, and even then, where the hell were they in Infinity War and Endgame?
It's a great question.
So, yeah. I get it. It's the MCU. It's a big world. I don't know how far ahead they knew about Eternals, but the unfortunate thing is, when you put people like the Eternals, and you say that they have been around and were there during the time of literally world-ending events, and they just did nothing, you're going to have to answer those questions. If they answer them well, good on them. The movie itself looks pretty good. I think the cast is fantastic. It's just that thing is just like I'm just like, I know they're gonna have some line about Thanos or something, unless maybe they were all snapped away. But I don't believe if it's 50% of all people were snapped away, how exactly could it have been that, like, because technically speaking, if 50% of people, then wouldn't that mean, I don't know, I just feel like there's going to be some stupid explanation for it. But besides that, might be a good movie. We'll have to wait and see. But those were all the trailers, that I saw.
Manning, have you seen any of the trailers, and what are your thoughts? Also, you're muted before you start talking.
Why did you let him keep going for a bit? That would have been funnier.
That would have been actually really funny if that was the case. I mean, it's not a podcast unless Manning somehow, or a video cast or what have you, a show unless Manning mutes himself somehow, and then someone corrects him, and we pretend like this goes on when these go on with our lives. Wait, what were the trailers again? Now my brain just blanked. Now we got distracted.
Eternals, Last Night in Soho, Escape Room Tournament of Champions, Jungle Cruise, and Old.
Oh, Last Night in Soho looks so good. Edgar Wright is a filmmaker that I thoroughly am enjoyed by. He is someone who has this ability to transcend varying genres. His Hot Fuzz, to me, is one of the funniest films in the modern era. I think it is just an absolute thrill ride. It's very tongue-in-cheek. And then you also get to Baby Driver, well, not a perfect film.
seen it.
It is a film that has an incredible sense of style and has a great sense of just excitement and fun. Also, fantastic editing. I think everyone knows that Oscar nomination was absolutely deserving. He is a
Is that an
direct.
Oscar film?
Is it an Oscar film? We'll have that debate some other time. Not right. Not today. Not today. No, not in my house. You guys remember that weird commercial? But no,
They
not in my
started
house.
showing it again. Those Geico commercials where because I
Exactly. Yes.
not in
Not
my
in
house.
my house. It's.
I
love that
remember
commercial.
when North Korea was, they had like the whole nukes test. Someone had like a meme I saw on Facebook to where it was like not today, North Korea.
Not today, North Korea. Not today. But no. Anyway, fun joke aside, Last Night in Soho looks to be taking something I've never seen Edgar Wright done, and that is do what is basically the equivalent of a horror film. It may not be a horror film; it may just be a thriller or suspense or what have you. But it's gorgeous. This looks distinct from what he has done, and I appreciate directors who do something incredibly different than what we have known them for. The comedic pop of what Edgar Wright has done, and this may have comedic elements, I'm sure it might have, but from what he's done so far, it just looks so distinctly different, and I am all for directors going out of their comfort zone and trying something different, and Last Night in Soho is one that I'm on board with. Old, it looks fantastic. Matt, you said you were concerned because of M. Night Shyamalan doing it. I will let you know. It is. I'm not sure if it's a short film, a short story, but it is based on a previous work. So I don't know if the previous work is already, the story's already out there. He wrote the screenplay, but the story is based on something else. He did not come up with the story.
I guess if he wrote the lest we forget, he wrote the screenplay for Stuart Little, and
I know, right?
Twist in that, so
no,
I guess we'll see.
So if you guys want to look up to the actual story and get an idea, look up Sandcastle by Pierre Oscar Levy. So that'll tell you what the
is it
story
an Oscar movie?
Is Old going to be an Oscar movie, or is actual? Or we'll find out by the end of this year when
over his head. I think the joke went over his head. The dude who wrote the first story,
Oscar Levy.
His name.
I completely forgot about his name was Oscar.
Kids are the ones that you have to explain.
Wow,
the more you know.
I need to. This is not the first time in my regular life. Things just go over my head in real life. I really should see somebody about this. Anyway,
things can't go over my head. My reflexes
are too quick.
Oh my god, Guardians is so good.
And then finally, I think Old is one I'm looking forward to because I appreciate films that are kind of contained in a certain area. And this is obviously they're contained on a beach. I think you can do a lot of interesting things. And if you make this a really quick, breezy runtime, please don't be too long. It could be a really fun and engaging story. And then lastly, I heard that.
Sorry. I don't have water. I was ice.
I'm like, yes. And then Eternals is one where I'm excited because it is, of course, Chloe Zhao who killed it with Nomadland. But I'm not as excited about this because I just don't care about what's going on with these characters because we have no connection. I'm ready to be wowed and shocked. Chloe Zhao is the one who's basically making me excited. But the trailer really didn't do anything for me. It was just, some pretty shots, some pretty people, some excitement here and there, pow, 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 and Kumail Nanjiani looking buff and me being like, wow, look at you, Kumail. Good job, sir. That's it.
Abe, did you watch any of the trailers?
Look, guys, I drew you. That's Matt. That's Manny. And that's Moko.
We're going to put them on the take-free fridge.
That's going to be the take-free. Where's our take-free fridge?
I was worried. No, I did watch. Okay, Eternals. Sounds interesting. Like, pretty shots. Like, I want to see more action, more things, I guess. Just pretty shots. Like, this movie is done. Like, this movie has to be done. Like, it's been done for a while, so they're holding stuff back. Last Night in Soho, great trailer. I loved it. I'm intrigued. I want to watch more. Like, I wish we can get it now, because I think that's boom or bust, as they call it, because people were profiling it last year as an awards contender. I'm not sure of that, so I want to watch. What else came out?
Escape Room Tournament of Champions,
Yeah,
Jungle Cruise.
I have no
and
idea
Old.
what that is. Oh, Jungle Cruise looks good. Like, I'm excited for the film. I really like adventure films, like the topic from this movie. I think we're missing more of that, and I agree with what Matt said that The Rock looks way too big in that. He's great. He's a great actor, charismatic, whatever you want to say about him, but he looks out of place. Well,
Looks like a cartoon.
I just want to say, if you have that many muscle, you have to show it off. Like,
I mean,
man, if you were that buff, you wouldn't have a jacket.
I wouldn't have a jacket. No, I mean, let's be honest. Although, like, I'm so curious. Now we're getting back to the idea of The Rock. The Rock is very cartoonish in his physique because not many people, John Cena, but they're all wrestlers. They are all literally Dave Bautista. They all were wrestlers. Like, literally, they did this for a living. And now people aren't like that. And I'm curious if you guys could recast it, who would it be? Would it be a Ben Affleck type of character, or are you kind of like, oh well, he's here? I'm just curious because I know that we say, oh, that's a good one. That's a really good one, actually. That's what I picked that.
That guy needs. I mean, he may not be interested, but like, he's so charismatic. He's a great actor. That guy needs a franchise that it's not the Hangover franchise.
Yeah.
What did I miss? Who's charismatic?
What? Oh no, we're saying that. Oh, go ahead, Malcolm. That's actually great. I love it.
Like for me, but for me, I thought the Eternals trailer was fun. I think there was a line in the trailer that says that they've never intervened until now. So there's probably something that happens in this movie until that forces them to intervene. They will probably.
This is the Wonder Woman bullshit to where she's like, I walked away 100 years. So it's like, all right, so Vietnam, Korea, all that, you just sat those out. Wow, way to go, Wonder Woman. It just makes the heroes look like assholes.
I mean, yeah.
Asshole.
There will probably be some explanation to why they weren't around for Thanos and why they didn't see the need to intervene, because just for the simple reason, I think it's Angelina Jolie's character in the comics is supposed to be related to Thanos. So there is that connection there.
They're like a family business, like Boss Baby family business. It comes out July 2nd of this year.
They need to pay us with how much we talk about this.
But yeah, I mean, last night I heard.
I injured my neck doing that.
I'm sorry, Malcolm. You were making a good point.
There's a reason I did not put. I'm pretty sure there's a new trailer for Boss Baby that came out in this time frame. I just intentionally left it off. But,
I talk about it enough. There are ninja babies in this one. Sorry, Malcolm.
Who cares? I'm probably not going to see it in the theaters.
Same.
But
Check the Facebook group. Well, chat.
But anyway, Last Night in Soho looks so much fun, and it's got Thomasin McKenzie in there as well, which is always a bonus.
Who's Thomasin McKenzie? What's he been in?
She was the girl in
Jojo Rabbit.
Oh, okay. The name
also,
sounded familiar. Okay.
She's also in Old as well.
So she's happening in 2021. Also, Naked Brothers, man. Come on.
And I mean,
Wolf
Old.
in there.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm strangely excited for Old. The trailers have got me to the point where I want to know what the hell's going on in this beach. And I mean, just looking at the cast, it's a very big cast as well. Because you've got Gal Garcia Bernal, Rufus Sewell, Ken Long from Lost, Alex Wolff, Eliza Scanlon, Thomasin
Wait,
McKenzie.
there's someone from Lost in this movie? God, poor dude can't catch a break on a beach, can he?
Oh. You're right.
I mean, I was a big fan of the first Escape Room movie, so I'm really excited for Tournament of Champions. This looks like it's taking the traps and making them much of a bigger scale.
Sorry,
I mean,
Malcolm.
I
I was gonna ask you, are the escape room movies, are they horror or they are thriller or like?
I would say they're probably more on the thriller side of things.
Okay. I
Um,
wanna watch.
I mean, it depends on how you would where you would place the Saw franchise movies. If they would put them straight in horror or in thriller, because it's a similar kind of concept.
The Saw
but
movies,
it's
for all I
but
know,
the
are torture porn. They're their own brand of horror.
but I mean, Escape Room. It's not to that gore as to that level of gore, but.
Do you think,
that being
Malcolm, do you think Escape Room Tournament of Champions, will it be better than Shaq and Dr. Phil being trapped by the villain from Saw?
I mean,
No one here has
anything
seen Scary Movie 3?
anything can be better
No.
than Scary Movie 4.
When they, oh, come on!
And Scary Movie 4, not 3,
And then,
bitch.
like, Dr. Phil's like, don't worry, Shaq, I'll take it. They just soft through his leg and he pulls it up. And Shaq's like, wrong leg. He's like, fuck. Oh, we're monetized
But
now. God, I gotta cut down on that shit. Damn it! Fuck, G-rated. Fuck, shit. Damn it.
But anyway, there was some other news that dropped over the last few weeks. I'm going to go through a bunch of these smaller ones that they're first. But there was one big one that came out in the last few weeks that will be a big talking point, but I'm saving that one to last.
Okay.
But some news is we've got Timothée Chalamet is going to play Willy Wonka in a Wonka prequel. Johnny Knoxville has said that Jackass 4 is going to be his last. HBO Max is developing a Garbage Pail Kids TV series. There'll be a new Evil Dead movie that's only on HBO Max called Evil Dead Rise, which apparently is not going to have Bruce Campbell in it.
No, thumbs down now.
It was like, you.
Christopher McDonald is joining Secret Invasion. Aaron Taylor Johnson has been cast as Craven the Hunter. The 2022 Oscars is set for March the 27th, and the eligibility deadline returns back to normal, so it's going to be a 10-month period as opposed to a 14-month. Zack Snyder wants to adapt The Dark Knight Returns with new actors. Square Enix is working on Guardians of the Galaxy video game. Mel Dandridge is reprising her role from the video game in the Last of Us TV series. Denai Guerrera is confirmed as reprising her roles Okoye in Black Panther 2 and the Disney Plus series. Marvel officially confirms Oscar Isaac is playing Moon Knight. Miles Teller is replacing Armie Hammer in The Offer, which is the making of the Godfather series. Donnie Yen and Shamia Anderson is joining the cast of John Wick Chapter 4. Issa Rae is going to voice Jessica Drew's Spider-Woman in Spider-Verse 2, plus the 90s Spider-Man original voice actor is coming into that as well. Cruella and Quiet Place are both getting sequels, with Quiet Place also getting a spin-off. And Christina Ricci is joining Matrix 4.
Isn't that movie done? Like, it's coming out this year, isn't it?
Apparently,
They were
she
filming
could've
it.
bought-
They push it.
Hey, look. Matrix Reloaded and Matrix Revolutions came out in the same year, and the Oracle passed away in the middle of filming both, and they were able to do that in the same year. So,
I mean, it might be a case like they've only just decided to announce her being in it, because the news, but the news did just drop. I thought the same thing. I thought it would already been done, but anyway,
Secret
on what her
role.
role is.
It says it's a secret role.
She's in
Yeah.
one scene.
Probably.
but Manning, is there anything from that bunch of news that you want to talk about?
More Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse stuff, please. The news from that just makes me excited. The fact this just kind of makes even. I'm imagining this is going to be even bigger and more universe spanning or dimension spanning, I guess, in this case. So Issa Rae is a great comedic force, so I'm excited to see her. And the 90s Spider-Man, so that's Christopher Daniel Barnes, right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm all for that. Listen, hey, if we could bring back in some small way every single one, like Rhino Romano, Josh Keaton, not Drake Bell anymore after what happened.
Oh yeah.
Nope, not him. So the non-problematic Spider-Man voice actors, let's get them and bring them back in a small scene or whatnot. I'm super excited for anything for when it comes to Spider-Verse, because that was still just an absolute delight to see in theaters, and I have such strong memories for that film.
And Nicholas Hammond. Let's get him in there. The poor guy has been trying to get a cameo in Spider-Man movies since 2002. Nicholas Hammond played Spider-Man in the 1970s live-action series. And the poor man has been passed up for cameos for literally all of them. And he was the first live-action incarnation of Spider-Man.
Huh.
I mean, I want to see these the voice actor who did the Spider-Man in the games pop up.
Which games?
Their new.
Oh, Yuri Lowenthal.
Oh yeah, Ben Tennyson.
You're right.
I'd love to see Spectacular Spider-Man, who's probably my number 2 Spider-Man. I'd love to see him in that. Just bring in all the Spider-Men.
Exactly. I want all pictures of Spider-Man.
Just get Black Panther and get that man a spider.
Get that man a spider. I want all the spider. I'm trying to now recall what some of the other news stories were. You don't have to go back and go through all of them. You'll give me a minute. There was one that I really liked, and now I can't remember what it was. Oh, the Oscars. Yeah, the Oscars. So the Oscars, I'm super excited the fact that we actually have a date. I kind of figured that it'd be something along those lines, but I'm kind of not excited that it's not at the end of February instead of it's the end of March. That's an extra month that we have to drag things out possibly. That said, I'm always excited that we actually have a date, and I'm actually really glad that they're setting it from the beginning of March to the end. Oh wow, you actually sent that in the chat, Malcolm. He is the goat right here. He literally wrote down
it didn't work
right
the way I wanted it. It's all just
that's close enough.
Yeah.
That's okay.
So the eligibility period being exactly as it needs to be. What was that?
You said Malcolm was a goat.
He said he was the goat. That's a sports reference, Abe.
I get it.
He's the goat. He's the goat. And I'm not excited about Aaron Taylor Johnson because mainly based upon the fact that that's never how I envisioned Kraven the Hunter. But I'm excited because he's a talent, and this is weird. Whenever I envision Kraven the Hunter, I don't know. I was looking for someone maybe a little older. I'm just imagining something that is not Aaron Taylor Johnson, but he could totally disappear into the role, and I could be very, very wrong. I guess I'm just not. I've never been impressed by Aaron Taylor Johnson. Sorry, Quicksilver. The closest thing I've ever had is Nocturnal Animals, and I thought he was good, not great, in a movie that I think is phenomenal. But he was really good, but not fantastic. However, I'm curiously optimistic, to say the least, but I'm not thrilled as much as I should be. And also that Willy Wonka prequel, sure, why not? Let's do it.
Oh, Jesus, there's more.
Oh, there's more. Oh yeah, and Donnie Yen, please and thank you. I'm excited for him to team up with John Wick.
What's a John Wick?
It's a great action series.
But Abe, anything in the news that you're excited about, that you want to talk about?
Okay, I'm gonna give you a rundown on everything. Timothée Chalamet to play Willy Wonka. Don't care really. I'm gonna watch it. First one's good. Well, probably it's gonna be bad. Jackass, I don't care. HBO, I don't care. Not really. Honestly, I don't want. Dude, that Issa Rae cast. I thought they cast her in the live action one for a second, and I was, oh my god, this is so perfect. I don't know what they're gonna do, but they're gonna do it. But she was cast in the animated one, so I was kind of bummed. Hope she can transition to that one. But that's the most interesting thing. Miles Teller reprising Army Hammer. Well, I don't think Army Hammer won't be eating that one. Um,
Wait,
John Wick. I was
don't
excited
think-
for.
Go past it. Just go past it.
and we just got demonetized officially this time.
If we weren't already.
Exactly.
If we weren't already for mentioning Drake, the other one.
Drake Belt. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God, no.
Will you ever eat human flesh?
FBI, open up. You mentioned Drake Bell on the stream.
They're at my door.
But anyway,
I found a way. I found a way. If you.
But for me, I'm actually strangely excited for the Willy Wonka prequel.
Huh.
Because I mean, it's one of those ones like because from what they've said about this prequel, because one, it's done by the people who did the Paddington movies.
That
Paul
would look
King.
good. You're right.
And I think they've also said they're going to draw some inspiration from the books, as opposed to trying to make it fit into either of the already set up movies. So we're not going to see Timothy Chalamet trying to be Johnny Depp or Gene Wilder.
Good.
So they're going to draw inspiration from the books. I mean, Johnny Knoxville saying that Jackass will be his last. I'll believe it when I see it. I mean, I know he's getting old, so I kind of.
You can only get hit in the balls with a baseball bat for so many years.
I mean, Christopher McDonald joining Secret Invasion. I honestly have no idea who he is.
He's Sher McGavin.
Oh,
He's
good.
Ken Mansley. I work for the government. He's Jor-El in the DC animated universe.
But yeah, I mean, it's one of those ones like Marvel officially confirming Oscar Isaac's Moon Knight. Like we already knew that anyway. I just
Yeah.
thought him.
Well, didn't he like take a picture or something? He's like, "Good prep for Moon Knight." I'm like, okay.
Yes.
That was the one that Marvel put.
Oh,
the-
that was the one. But I feel like he had done. I feel like there was a
he
picture
might
of
have
him
put it. He might have put it on his own earlier, but had to. But I was told, take it down. We're not ready to announce it to the world yet.
Too late.
I mean, I'm excited we're getting Spider-Man and Spider-Verse. I'm kind of with Abe, but like when I saw that Issa was playing Spider-Woman, I thought it was No Way Home because in the comics, Spider-Woman is connected with Shield than anything. But that being said, I'm excited. And yeah, I mean, Cruella and Quiet Place seeing sequels. I mean, like from what I've heard, there's a mid-credit scene in Cruella that hints towards a sequel. I haven't seen it yet, but
There was.
Yeah.
Wow, I left out way too soon. Wow. Wow.
Really? You didn't watch it?
No, I didn't know there was a mid-credit scene. I was like, oh, this is great, Florence and the Machine.
Can I tell you something, guys? I'm sorry, like it's not something stupid. Like because all movies have gotten that fucking thing of having the post-credit scenes. Like I Google every time a film ends, I grab my phone and Google, does this film have a post-credit scenes? Because
That's
those
smart.
fucking scenes-
No, I'm kind of on the same way for you two now, Abe. I've
like
just
even
been,
comedies have some.
yeah. At this point, I'm just like,
Wow.
I'll sit there and I'll literally just because normally I feel like they'll do like the cast credits and then it will be there, and so I wait until the cast credits are done. If nothing happens, I leave. But at
No,
times
you guys
now
know-
it's just
Rough Night? Do you know the Scarlett Johansson where she's a bachelorette and they kill the strip or something like that?
yeah.
Like that thing has a post-credit scene until the end of the credits. They do that.
Old movies,
They
man.
do that. Fucking Marvel.
but yeah, and A Quiet Place. getting a sequel, once again, not too surprised. It did well at the box office. That was bound to happen. And like, there's definitely moments of Quiet Place Part 2 that I would definitely thought was like, well, I can see what a potential sequel could be. Because I mean, it's also getting a spin-off too, and I can kind of see where that one would be as well. But yeah. And Matt, anything on the bunch of news there that you want to talk about?
Yeah, Timothée Chalamet to play Willy Wonka and Wonka prequel. It could be good. I don't really think we need it. I feel like it's like the important thing with Willy Wonka is he opens the chocolate factory and invites he does the contest for the 5 people. That's kind of where it starts and ends. I think that's kind of why one of the many reasons why the Tim Burton one doesn't really work is because like they go way too much into, which look, it's not terrible. I think Christopher Lloyd. I'm so sorry, Sir Christopher Lee. My bad. As his dad, like I thought that was interesting. I was like, wow, like his dad was a dentist and never let him eat candy, so he grew up to become a candy person. I thought that was interesting. I'm like, yeah, but this isn't needed. Like the Gene Wilder one, there was so much mystery behind him. Like even towards the end of the movie when they go into his office and like everything is like all half, it's like, why does he have? And we never get to find out. Like there's a mystery to him. Johnny Knoxville saying Jackass 4 would be his last. I love Jackass. I love the Jackass movies. Me and my brother used to watch Jackass 2 all the time together. When they dress their friend up as the terrorist and put him in the back of the taxi, it's one of the funniest things we've ever seen before. And the beard is made of all their pubic hair. It's incredible. Yeah, he's gotten up there in age, and I think it's honestly just a thing to where like you can literally only like be shot with an assault rifle and hit in your balls, and just like he has kids somehow. I don't know how, but he has them. Like, but I think it's just like you get to a point, and I feel like, I mean, also, you know, I feel like this is going to be like the big goodbye from all of them, because I feel like they're not going to keep doing it without Johnny. So I feel like this is going to be the last ride for all of them, and it's going to be hilarious. I'm just looking. Evil Dead an Evil Dead sequel without Bruce Campbell. Why even bother? That man is literally the face of that franchise. That would literally be like doing an Indiana Jones sequel without Indiana Jones. Like, and if you're going to have someone be the main character, like if you're going to have someone else play Ash, why would Bruce Campbell right over there?
Well,
unless it's a sequel to the freaking remake. But go on, Malcolm.
Well, I was about to say, I think Bruce Campbell is producing it still there.
He's not in it. So, Christopher McDonald joined. I don't even know what Secret Invasion is. That from what you guys have said, I guess that's a Marvel thing.
It's an MCU TV series.
Okay. Cool. They announced like 20,000 things at that D23 or whatever. I love Christopher McDonald. He's one of the great film assholes of all time between Shirley McGavin and Kent Mansley. So I hope he plays. Although as Darrell, he's a very sweet and loving man, and also he was in Yesterday's Enterprise, one of my favorite Next Generation episodes. So he could play a nice guy too. But I just love Christopher McDonald. So awesome. Aaron Taylor Johnson is Kraven the Hunter. Cool. I've loved Aaron Taylor Johnson since the Kick-Ass movies. I'm interested to see. Kraven is one of my favorite. He's not like my favorite Spider-Man villain, but he's one of my favorites that I'm like, they're never going to put Kraven in a movie, and now they're putting Kraven in a movie. So I'm just interested. He's never been a man who hasn't been in shape, but he's going to have to get into a lot of shape if they are trying to portray Kraven like he is in the comics. Oscars. Zack Snyder wanting to adapt The Dark Knight Returns. He kind of already did that with Batman v Superman. We got the Peter Weller animated one. I think we're fine on Dark Knight Returns. I'm just looking at these last couple of stories. Yeah, Spider Woman. I don't really know Jessica Drew, but I'm just excited Spider Woman's in it. I'm more excited with Malcolm saying that the actor from the '90s Spider-Man series is going to be in there. That was my introduction to Spider-Man, so the first voice I knew of Spider-Man was his. I hope he's just playing his version from that. Like, I think that'd be fantastic if it's just the 90s Spider-Man. That'd be really cool. And that's about Christina Ricci joins Matrix 4. I love Christina Ricci. She's a great actress. I am still on a Matrix 4, but she's a good actress, so she'll be good in it, I'm sure.
But yeah, I mean, the big news I kind of left out there because I figured it might be a big talking point is that Amazon has acquired MGM, so they now own Sylvester Stallone.
They don't own Sylvester Stallone. They, own the Rocky and Creed movies. Is that what you're attempting to say?
That was what I was saying.
Yeah, I ain't fucking owned by no one now. Okay, keep punching.
But I mean, they still own Sylvester Stallone. It's just the movies that they still own. They also own James Bond now. But Abe, what are your thoughts on Amazon acquiring MGM?
Look, I'm still not clear what it means for MGM, because if it means every MGM film is gonna be on Prime, which it should, because that's what every single streaming service should do. Like, put all their whole library. Like, you have thousands, not hundreds of, if not thousands of films there that you should put in your library for us to enjoy. And look, if nobody's gonna watch, with all due respect, whatever film I want to say, that On the Waterfront, some people want to watch it. Like, if you have it in your library, just put it on. It's that easy. Like, you have the rights to it. But I mean, I cannot tell you I'm excited, because I think we're gonna start seeing more of that. Like, these big company. Well, we just saw it. We just saw Disney buying Fox, and their entire library, we will say so. Like, it's something's gonna keep happening, and I guess there's gonna be a point. AT&T, Warner Brothers, so we've seen it many times. I think there's gonna be a point that government will have to interfere with this stuff, because you're gonna get control. Well, it's not gonna be a monopoly, but it can become close to that by a trimonopoly or something. There's not going to be a ton of competition in the market. That's what I say, and that's not healthy for any industry. You want competition.
The question is, who acquires who first? Will Amazon acquire Disney first, or Disney acquire Amazon first?
Can I say something?
It's gonna be a battle.
You get the limo out front, hottest styles, every shoe, every color. No, Hannah Montana.
Why are we singing Hannah Montana? Chill it out, make it slow, and you rock out the show.
But we still won't release True Lies on 4K because James Cameron's kind of an asshole.
Mamma Mia came out in 4K a couple months ago, and I'm gonna buy it once I have that 4K player.
Here we go again.
Here we go again.
Mama, how can I
hey, look, James Cameron, I don't blame you. You know why I don't blame you? Because nobody's perfect. I gotta work it again and again until I get it right.
Guys, can I just give you an update? I actually hurt my neck, and it hurts a lot.
Sorry, Malcolm. Off the rails, we know.
But anyway, like, this is one of those moves, because I know that there's a lot of people sort of angling for MGM, because I think Comcast was out there, and that, and I think even Disney was around there as well, sniffing around MGM, going, let's get them.
Let's get them.
And I think Warner Bros. Might have been there too. But anyway, and I believe they did say that we will start seeing the MGM movies pop up on Prime, and that, which I'm kind of glad, because especially for me, like the James Bond movies and even the Rocky movies for that are not easy to come by. I mean, I do not remember where I left off watching Rocky. I
heard you saw Rocky 2. That's the last I heard.
I told you I've seen 3.
Oh, okay. So Rocky 3 then. Who's the last person you had a fight with, Malcolm, that you remember?
But anyway,
That's not an answer.
So yeah, it's definitely a big thing. And it's one of those ones like with MGM, it's like clearly like they weren't making much money anymore. It was either try to keep going and just disappear into the distance, or have someone buy them and just help them along. And I think this is the way that's going to be. And
Yeah.
but Matt, what are your thoughts on Amazon buying MGM?
Yeah, so I had this conversation with my friend Kyle about this because people, when this happened, I swear to you, you would have thought that the seafloor had cracked open, Cthulhu had rised and was terrorizing people, cats and dogs living together, mass hysteria. Like, it was insane. And I was sitting there like, okay, look. They were going to sell to someone. The MGM had gotten to that point to where they just weren't competitive enough in the marketplace. Someone made an offer and they took it. It literally happens every day with not saying MGM isn't real, but with non-entertainment businesses. Happens all the time. It's that there are literally people whose jobs it is are just to buy up companies and parcel them out. And so Richard Gere, that was his job in Pretty Woman. So I think if Disney had bought them, I'd be afraid because then it would be Walt Disney, Lucasfilm, Fox, and MGM. The fact that it's Amazon, I think that's fine. I think it kind of just helps Amazon to take a step more into being way more of a production house, and just a force in film, which is cool because obviously I know like Manchester by the Sea. I mean, Casey Affleck won an Oscar for that, and I know they've done a couple of ones, but I don't think they're like on Netflix's level as far as that. Also, like Abe said, I think, as someone who, I like older movies, and unfortunately older movies are not always easy to come by. I think it'll be great if MGM's entire catalog is on Amazon Prime, because then you could get people, like Abe said, to see movies like On the Waterfront and there's so many damn movies they own. The James Bond series, that's just awesome. Like, I just like, because I'm gonna be honest, there are some James Bond movies that like I don't love, so I don't want to buy, but if they're on Amazon Prime, maybe I'll watch a View to a Kill or something, which, yeah, I know I'm apparently an asshole because, I have no problem with it. It happens. Like I said, they were going to sell to someone. They sold to Amazon. Yes. Would I prefer there to be more studios than giant studios? Yeah, because the more competition there is, the more better films we're all getting. I think people saying this is death of physical media are out of their minds, because how many freaking Blu-rays does Amazon sell on the daily? Like, they put their shows on physical media. You can get Jack Ryan season 1 on Blu-ray and DVD. So I think people, which I talk about often here, blew things completely out proportion and were just old man screams at cloud. I think it's fine. I think it's cool. And I think a lot, to be honest here, because this is Twitter, I think a lot of the people screaming and complaining about this, once MGM's entire catalog, you're going to see them tweeting about like, oh my God, guys, so great. I can watch all the James Bond movies here. And blah, blah. Yeah, I hate people on Twitter. But you can follow me on Twitter at Kearns_Matthew. I don't have my gun.
Manning, what are your thoughts on Amazon buying MGM?
I understand the plight wise those people you may have seen, Matt, who have said, oh no, there goes Indiana Kearns. No. Who may have said, that people think, oh, this is the death of physical media. That's a discussion probably to have, but I don't feel like That is the main thing that should be the takeaway from this merger. What this means is that smaller studios are currently being eaten up by these mega deals with these larger media businesses that aren't even film companies. Like you've seen this consolidation. Hands up. You see this consolidation of film, of these companies. It's kind of just sad to see all these companies start to go under, or like AT&T basically combine Warner Brothers with Discovery in order to have a spin-off or whatnot. To
Warner Discovery, what a terrible name.
What a horrible logo too. Oh, Warner Bros. Discovery.
What first-year intern came up with that on their lunch break? Like,
that's what it sounds. That's what it looks like.
I mean, I was about to say, it kind of looks like the Wonder Woman 84 logo.
They were like, guys, okay, what font generator would you have? Well, we still got the one left over from Wonder Woman. Do it. Put it in. Go.
How about we use that one, Andy?
Well, good
job, Gomer. You saw that shit. I thought this was a joke when I saw it.
Wait.
No, that's real. That's real.
That's real.
I thought it was a joke. I was like, what the fuck's that?
No, that's real,
nope, that's real. And that's why real. That's why, to me, I'm more of concerned the fact of like these mega media corporations like Amazon. Like Amazon literally, just this is from the New York Times. I want you guys to put this into consideration, okay? All right, so they paid. Let me find it. I scroll all the way down. I read this kind of article on and off, but
something like that.
8.54 billion. And literally they outbid their. That is literally double than what Apple and Comcast thought they were worth. Like, and Amazon came in because they want to be able to have this library and to take not only what movies that they've made, but what they could possibly make in the future. This just kind of goes along the fact of, and also a staggering statistic as well too that I found out, if I can find it real fast. But it's basically talking about how much can they
don't call me.
Junior. Junior. Where was it? Well, I can't find it right now. Okay, but what they were saying is that Amazon has plenty of money to just be able to throw around and do it wants to, obviously, just in cash alone. So this is nothing to them. MGM was worth only about $2 billion, and they were about $4 billion in debt. $2 billion right there. So they had no choice but to do this. And to me, it's a scary trend to think about this continued consolidation and what this means for our future. I mean, we're already kind of screwed as a world, but the question is, what does this mean in the long run? And we come to the movie industry. Will more tech businesses just continue to grab into that? Will Apple buy Sony or something until we all just consolidate? And it's only like Amazon, Jeff Bezos slinging over like Lex Luthor, and then we have Disney over here doing their thing, like saying, "Oh, hey kids, buy our stuff." And then we have over here like, "Oh boy." And then we'll have like, AT&T or Apple or whoever's over there being like, buy our phones. And this is the cellular service you can use. And it just kind of shows we live in such a rapidly evolving world. And I'm concerned about this quick consolidation that we are having with not only movie studios, but other things. But that's another topic for another day. That's not just movies, but just kind of a mass monopolistic type of term when it comes to DVD or when it comes to DVD, Blu-ray, and just movie catalogs in the future. But I'm done rambling.
But yeah, I mean, like I personally don't think that this is definitely a physical media at all. Like what everyone's saying, like I think they're gonna keep releasing DVDs because I'm still gonna keep buying them. So
they're gonna keep doing it until people stop. Like, look, in a couple of years, we're gonna have like 8K or whatever the next evolution of 4K is. Like, there is a huge market. You know what? You know how I know there's a huge market? Because if you look at the history of physical media, you look at things like Laserdisc and Betamax and all these things, it's like those things died off because people weren't buying them. So until people stop buying DVDs and Blu-rays and 4Ks, they're still going to make them, because ultimately the film industry is like every other industry. There's a dollar figure attached to it, and people will gladly pay that dollar figure. They're going to keep producing it. Look at fast food restaurants. they keep making McNuggets because people keep buying them, but they don't do the McRib anymore because no one buys it.
But
The
yeah,
way
I
of the
mean,
world, kids.
but yeah, I kind of agree with Ron here. I think if Disney was to buy DC off Warner Brothers,
Yeah.
and
Like
it's going
that
to,
would be scary. Because
yeah,
that's just moving into monopoly territory, and then
Yeah.
honestly, I think if Disney tried to buy Warner Brothers after the Fox thing, I honestly feel like there might be some like, yeah, this is gonna break some monopoly stuff.
Well-
you can't do this.
Just think until solve this. We now have 5 major studios, obviously. When it comes to like the Warner Brothers or Warner Brothers Discovery, I don't know. We have this. We got Disney. We got Paramount. We got Sony, and there's one more that I'm currently forgetting right now. Columbia.
Universal.
Yeah, Columbia is still
Universal.
around.
No, Universal. Universal.
Yeah, Universal.
Right.
Pretty-
Sorry.
Columbia,
Yeah, Sony.
Sony.
It's Columbia, Sony. There we go. So, and then you have, what are the smaller studios that are left? Lionsgate?
Lionsgate, A24,
Lionsgate,
Neon.
Beaker Street.
whatever.
It's
one
these smaller ones, but what-
whatever they switched over to, I think. they're
Yeah, but
still
then it's
around.
like, when are some of these going to become subsidiaries? Like you have Sony Pictures Classics, Focus Features, some of these that are already subsidiaries because they've been bought or they've been kind of
A24.
go into. A24 and Neon are the few that I can think of that I know that are like separate. But it's like, how much longer until these mini ones don't come out anymore? It's like you're hounded by these bigger companies until these mega deals start to continue. And that this, again, consolidation is, it's more convenient. It can be more convenient, but it's also concerning when it comes to just the like, okay, how much until this just a couple companies taking over the movie industry, until it's just now 3 big companies and then it's only 1 big company.
Well,
and that's when I get
think-
concerned.
Honestly, I think if you look at the history of the film industry, look, in the late 60s, early 70s, the big film companies kind of broke down, and what
Yep.
rose from that? Amblin, Lucasfilm, Zoetrope. I feel like we'll see that. We'll see there's a yin and a yang to everything, if you believe in that. So when there becomes too big, when you fly too close to the sun and you fall down, there's a phoenix rise from the ashes. I mean, literally, that is why Amblin and Lucasfilm and Zoetrope all came to be, is because these bigger companies all shut down and were non-existent.
And I hope that's the case, because now look, they're both now they've both been bought by other of the major companies that went bye-bye.
Sure, but I mean, we'll have to see.
I know. I'm hoping you're right, Kurtz.
but yeah, I mean, like movies are the stuff that dreams are made of. Just like
God. So, dude, I swear I can look right now and just Google stock image of blue sky and clouds, and I can find that picture. Can we talk about Indiana Jones now? Because it got real. Manning started talking about like we were living in 1984. It got real.
I got really deep. I'm
So
so
can we talk about something
apologies.
not depressing, like World War II and the Nazis?
I mean, that's where my segue was going to go. But yeah, moving on to our big corporate overlords, Disney, and Lucasfilm. But we are going to talk about Indiana Jones.
I know my whip.
But it's just one of those ones. But I'm gonna go. I have no idea how I'm gonna start this, but so I'm gonna start with this. Indiana Jones. Matt. How old were you when you first started watching Indiana Jones?
So I was. How old was I? I'm not sure the exact age, but I was in 4th grade. Why is because we were doing a biography project in school, and I did mine obviously on my hero at the time, and my hero is still George Lucas. And so I'm doing this biography project. I'm reading all about him. I'm learning a ton of stuff, like he wanted to be a race car driver and all these things. And then I start reading about this movie series he did with Steven Spielberg called Indiana Jones, and I had never heard of Indiana Jones. And Harrison Ford, Han Solo was in it. And I remember looking up the trailer for the 3 movies, because at the time 4 wasn't even like a thing. And I was like, I need to see these movies. And my dad went out and got the box set, which is still how I own the movies. And I remember watching Raiders and just being entranced. And the way I saw that movie was me and my brother were watching it together, and he had to go to bed because he's 2 years younger than me, and so I wasn't allowed to finish the movie without him. And so the way I watched that movie was every morning before school for a couple of days. We would get up and watch part of Raiders and then go to school. And so I literally saw Raiders of the Lost Ark the first time as an adventure serial. Like, I would watch bits and pieces and then pick up right where I left off. And I've loved these movies ever since then. Raiders is my second favorite film of all time. This series means so much to me. I'll talk about another part of the series maybe later on if Malcolm gives me a podium to talk about it. I mean, I literally just yesterday bought this magazine from Rite Aid because I love Indiana Jones so much. Oh
wow.
I'm not sure if we'll get into the discussion, but if we do, I'm an Indy over Han person. So this series is, I think, whereas like Star Wars made me want to be a filmmaker, Indiana Jones made me want to be a storyteller, because some of the first stories I wrote in my little like elementary school notebook were Indiana Jones stories, of just adventures he went on. So I adore this series. If you can't tell, I literally own an Indiana Jones costume.
But Manning, how did you first discover Indiana Jones?
You're muted.
I caught myself this time. I can't remember the very first time, but I remember one of the most striking times that made me realize, like, wow, this is genuinely really a really cool story. Because I'm pretty sure that I was not allowed to watch Temple of Doom. I was allowed to watch the other two, just not Temple of Doom, which for one particular reason I think we all know. One particular scene.
Oh, the heart?
The heart, for some reason, was like... I don't think... For some reason, that was very much a no-no. I think also because they were doing a ritual. So I guess I was deprived of that. But when it comes to Raiders of the Lost Ark, just that entire first scene is one I remember vividly. But then I remember seeing it as a kid in Disney's Hollywood Studios, formerly I believe it was MGM Studios, formerly.
What's the song Spectacular?
Full Circle.
Yes, exactly.
Which I've still
Full
never
circle.
seen in person.
It is truly one of the Indiana Jones stunt spectacular, and just being able to see all that and be like, whoa, 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 just the stunts and being able to recognize and seeing it in person and then appreciate it. I think I was like 6 or something, so maybe 7. It was young enough to be able to appreciate it, but young enough to be able to be in awe, but old enough to also being able to appreciate and see what they were doing, thinking, oh god, they actually killed Marion. But they didn't. Spoiler alert. It's all stunts. I think this is this is what adventure serials are all about. Like, I love Star Wars, I'm always gonna love Star Wars more because I'm a Star Wars guy. But Indiana Jones is such a fantastic series that I will watch repeatedly because of the sense of wonder that it brings and the sense of excitement that feels very classic adventure, and we don't really get that much anymore.
But Abe, what was the first time you ever? When was the first time you ever saw Indiana Jones?
Look, guys. I don't know you guys, but I didn't have someone that introduced me to a lot of films as a kid. Like, my love of films come off like late, because when I was 15, and then after 15, I became kind of obsessed with watching a lot of stuff, and then that's when I started watching. I think I watched the first one when I was like 18, because you hear about it like for many people, and then it took me a couple years to watch. It was 2015. Yeah. It took me a couple years to watch the second one and then the third one. So I'm not that of an Indiana Jones fan. Like,
if
I'm
you
gonna
want
be honest
to be
with you.
technical, you started with the second one. because
Yeah, I know that.
it's the first one. The Temple of Doom takes place in 1935, and his Lost Ark takes place in
Yeah,
1936.
but like, well, I don't know if we're gonna go like. For me, the first one is like, oh, I fall asleep watching this. Then the second way was, oh my god, this is getting interesting. And then the third way, I love the third one. So I don't know if it's a weird relationship I have. I don't know if it was my age at the
What about the fourth
what
one?
my adult. I haven't watched that one.
Oh, watch it.
It's gonna take me more years to watch. I was thinking of watching it last night, but I watched Almost Famous instead, like for the first time.
Oh.
And let me tell you, that film was fantastic.
Good choice.
And I watched
Yeah.
2 episodes of The Office.
For me, I also kind of got to Indiana Jones rather late because I didn't have anyone to introduce me to them. I can't quite remember when I first watched Raiders, but I think it wasn't too far before Crystal Skull was coming out that I got to it, and I enjoyed it. But it's just one of those ones was like both Raiders and Last Crusade are currently in my top 100 movies of all time. And Temple of Doom is my least favorite. I prefer Kingdom of the Crystal Skull over it.
I mean, I got opinions on the Indiana Jones movies, but you
But,
have to hear them.
But but going forward, Matt, how would you rank the? What are your feelings on the Indiana Jones movies?
My feelings on them and my rankings. So my feelings are, I love the whole quad trilogy. I think it's incredible. Okay, so I'll go from bottom to top for this. So coming in at number 4, I'll put Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Not because I think it's bad. Actually, I really enjoy that movie. I really like that movie. I actually really like the reintroduction of Marion. I love Mutt being his son, and I just love the quick change from there's the conversation they have to where like Mutt's talking about like, you know, he dropped out of school, he wants to like be a mechanic and all this, and Indy's like, hey, do whatever you want to, and then when he finds out Mutt's his son and they're in the back of the truck, he's like, and you're going back to school. Like, it's great. It's a lot of fun. I know people hate it and Aliens, but like, I mean, Indiana Jones movies have always been full of like. Also, I mean, look, the Christian Christian Judaism stuff to non-believers of that's kind of alien to them. And they establish there's the great scene when they're in the graveyard and they get the crystal skull. When Mutt's like, he's like, God doesn't look like that, and Indy goes, depends on who your God is. Like that. So okay. So coming in at number 3, I have Last Crusade, or as my friend Michael French would call it, Diet Raiders. I get why the movie was made the way it was made, because Temple of Doom got not really critically. It was mostly audience reaction. It was negatively received. So I get it that they wanted to play it safe. They wanted to go back to Raiders and all. I understand it. It's really good. The intro scene I love so much, and it led to, again, maybe my podium thing a little later on. Sean Connery is fantastic. I think that was so great that how Indiana Jones started was Steven Spielberg and George Lucas went on vacation and they were building a sandcastle, and Steven Spielberg said, I want to direct a James Bond movie, and George Lucas went, I have something better than that. And so to get James Bond to be Indy's father just makes so much sense, even though Sean Connery didn't think he could do it because he's only 12 years older than Harrison Ford. So he's like, I don't think I could actually. I mean, obviously I was sexually active when I was 12, but he's fantastic in it. That is the thing I will say. that core of that movie is wonderfully beautiful. I mean, Jesus, I tear up thinking about it. Indiana, like it's just such a, and especially now that Sean's gone, the ending of that movie, just the connectiveness between the whole movie. It takes him to realize that, like, just acknowledging his son as his own person. That's God. That I do love that movie. It's my number 3. I love all of these movies, by the way. So this is like when I rank the Lethal Weapon movies. I love them all. It's just picking children. At number 2, I have Temple of Doom. I freaking love Temple of Doom. I hate the criticism that this gets. It's a freaking fun movie. It has a great story arc for Indy in the movie. He starts the movie saying to Short Round, fortune and glory. Like, he establishes that is what we are doing this for. And by the end of the movie, he gives up the Shankara stone to the village. Like, he's made that shift. And there's so many great heroic moments in Indy. Like, I love when he first gets the Shankara stone and he hears in the faint distance, he hears the cry of the kid. And he has a chance to just leave. But no, he goes towards that. And even when he's freed from the black sleep and Willie's like, let's get out of here, and he puts the hat on and he's like, right, all of us. And there's that awesome moment where it's the big Fuggy is beating the kid, and then the light from the minecart pushes in. It's just Indy standing there, and he just punches the dude in the face. I mean,
Good old punch sound effect.
I'll say, one of the greatest, which Ben Burt got that from taking a bunch of lumberjacks and hitting them with a baseball bat. That's how he got that punch sound effect. The Indiana Jones revolver, that's a cannon, actually. From when Indy is released from the black sleep, like starting with that moment to the end of the bridge scene, is to me one of the greatest pieces of adventure filmmaking we're ever going to see. I mean, my favorite Indiana Jones scene is the bridge scene. It's just perfect. I'm not sure, Malcolm, are we going to talk about favorite scenes later, or should I just talk about that now? I don't know how we're doing this.
I mean, I'm just backing this up as I go along, so yes, we can talk about favorite scenes later if you want.
Well, that's very Indiana Jones, because that is a line when Salah's like, how are you going to do that? I don't know. I'm making this up as I go along. So I'll save that. My number 1, it's Raiders of the Lost Ark. When I was growing up, my favorite was Temple of Doom. I think because I loved the adventure stuff, I loved all that. But as I got older and I started studying film, Raiders is just one of the greatest films ever made. It's a perfect movie. It is fun. It's a movie that I'd be shocked if someone said they didn't like, because I just feel like it's so accessible. Like, it has a great hero. It has a really good villain, Belloc. One of my favorite scenes in that movie is when they're talking, and Belloc's like, it's a radio for speaking to God, and it's within my grasp. And then he just looks and he's like, you want to talk to God? Let's go sing together. I got nothing less to lose. And he goes to pull his revolver. I mean, I guess by Manning's face, there is someone who doesn't like Raiders, and I guess we can have that conversation. But it's incredible. I love the movie. I'll gladly sit here and debate Manning as to why Raiders is better than Last Crusade. Right here, I'm ready. Let's go. So yeah, that's how I rank them. Now, how would I rank them with the Young Indiana Jones movies? That we'll have to see later on in the show, perchance.
But anyway, Manning, what are your thoughts on the movies and how would you rank them?
I would actually, may I request having Abe go before me?
Oh,
Hey, what are your thoughts on the Indiana Jones movies and how would you rank them?
Okay. Number 4. I haven't watched that one, so Last Crusade. So by default, it's number 4. No, Last
he
Crusade.
ranks it below what he hasn't seen.
Wait, Last Crusade is the one you haven't seen?
No, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Yeah, Crystal Skull. Okay.
Okay.
Dude,
Like,
I
that's
like
right.
this movie so much that I know all the names.
Good to know.
Yeah, it's Raiders of the Lost Ark, Temple of Doom, Last Crusade, and Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Number 3, which I don't see the greatness that many people see in them. As I told you at the beginning, I don't know if it was something in my life at the time. I was 15. I had a pretty good life all my life, so so Manning start swinging that, start prepping that knife to cut my throat. Matthew, Raiders of the Lost Ark. I fell asleep watching it. I woke up and continued watching it. I don't remember shit about it. Oh, I remember the guy's face.
That's
Oh,
not fair. That ranking is BS if he doesn't remember anything about it.
no, I watched it. I watched it. I know what I've. And there's the plane scene, and then the that thing where you hit somebody with the ass. The whip. Yeah.
Well, technically,
Yeah.
there's a plane scene in Last Crusade, and he whips people. So you could be just
Okay,
thinking
number
about Last
2,
Crusade.
it's Temple of Doom, because it's really good. I like that one. That one's fun. Like the darkness and everything. I enjoy those kind of stuff. Like it. I think it's like I would have liked it more if I was born in 1986, 85. I don't remember what year came out.
He came out in 1984.
1980. Was it a
Yep.
year later from the first one? No.
No, the first one was 81, so it was 3 years later.
Okay.
That was back when they actually took time in between movie sequels.
Okay. So that one. Number 1, the one I actually really love and liked, Last Crusade, because I guess I was older. I'm not that old. I'm fucking 24. But like I just really enjoyed that. Like I thought it was funny. I like that dynamic between Sean Connery and Harrison Ford. Like especially like you rarely get when you get that kind of chemistry on screen. Like you have to explore it as much as you can, and they actually did that. Also, they fucked the same woman. That's kind of weird.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
Like-
that's very weird.
How'd you know she talks in her sleep?
But anyway,
That is an
But
ad lib
okay.
line from Sean Connery, by the way.
but
Did
Manning,
you
what are
guys
you?
start
Wow.
while you're sleeping?
Wow.
Yeah, she talks in her sleep. That was an ad lib line. So that was not in the
Wasn't
What
original
did he?
script.
What was he supposed to say?
He wasn't supposed to say anything. I think it was just a moment, or Sean just kind of took it and just went, "That's just what I would say."
That's
Unless
what
I'm
I'd
wrong
say.
about that story, but as far as I know, that was an ad lib line.
But anyway, Manning, what are your thoughts on the movies?
Mine's kind of like an amalgamation between the two of them so far, but I appreciate the fact that it's so different and varied because I don't think there is a scratch
There's no
that. There is
right
a
way to
clear
think about
number
movies.
4. There's a clear number 4 I think most people will agree upon, and that's Kingdom of the Crystal Scroll.
Oh.
We'll mostly agree upon that one to be the case. But if Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, yes, it is in fact.
No, you said scroll.
Did I say scroll? Well, I slurred that. Then I apologize.
That's where the MCU and Indiana Jones start.
Yeah,
Do
Kingdom
yeah,
of the
yeah,
Crystal
yeah.
Scroll. Ugh,
Someone make that a
that'd be
poster.
interesting.
His hair's
Oh, so
Ben Mendelsohn. I would watch it. It's dumb, though.
holding. And if I had to put the actual Young Indiana Jones, it'd be right after that. It'd be right before the movies. But we're not going to do that right now. Maybe we'll talk about that. I don't know. But then probably would be for the third one. It'd be Temple of Doom, the one I've watched the least. Not saying about the quality. I just have watched it the least in comparison to the other 3. And number 2, it's more than likely going to be Raiders of the Lost Ark, but it's a lot closer than I think that me 5 years ago would notice or understand. Like Raiders of the Lost Ark is just a movie. It's, as you said, Matt, it's a perfect film. I think it is a genuine, perfectly made film when it comes to an adventure thrill. That opening sequence is such quintessential filmmaking. And while my number 1, I think, has an overall higher consistency, because there's some parts in that one where I'm just like, I'm not feeling it as much, but there's a dynamic in the first and the third one that I just gravitate to more, and that is obviously what Abe was highlighting. And number 1 is, of course, The Last Crusade. The dynamic between them is something I gravitate toward, especially now once I lost my dad. There's something that's even more beautiful about that relationship that I see, but it's always a toss-up between the two of them for me. I think most people agree that I have known. There's a consensus that it's one of those
Yeah, I
two.
feel like it's those two. It's pretty
Yes.
much that's your favorite.
Yeah, those usually will be your favorite, and I think that also that last sequence, where it's just the actual Holy Grail sequence where he's trying to figure out, okay, not only the cup, he has to figure out the leap of faith, he has to be able to kneel, all of
Penitent
that.
man shall pass.
Penitent
A
man,
penitent
yes.
man is humble before God. Penitent man, kneel. Then
There you go.
it's the what is it? It's the breath of God, the word of God, which is you have to spell his name. But of course, it matters. Jehovah starts with an I. J.
I love it. Each thing is like it is genuinely one of my favorite sequences of the entire series, that entire Holy Grail sequence. But everything in that entire thing is just escalated.
It's just Lucasfilm's version. It's just gonna be their Spider-Verse.
I mean, for the record, Ben Mendelsohn, as far as I know, is not in Indiana Jones 5. I
love him, so if he was announced, I would freaking love to see him in one of those movies.
It's like, oh, where's Dr. Jones? Are we blind? Deploy the garrison. It is.
We were on the verge of greatness. We were this close.
No. Mads Mikkelsen just walks in as Galen Urso and goes, Han Solo, what are you doing here?
Han Solo.
You're old.
And then he'd be like, and then Harrison Ford would just be like, I wasn't in Rogue One. What are you talking about?
The timeline doesn't make sense.
The timeline doesn't make sense, or they don't pay me enough to care.
I don't care. It's like, they don't think I care, but in actuality, I'm a big fan. Just imagining that to be the case.
Well, actually, no. Indiana Jones, he cares about. He's gone on record to saying he much prefers Indiana Jones. But
yes, I do not blame him. Yes, yeah, and I love The Last Crusade. I just think it's a beautifully made film, and is one of my favorites based upon the core relationship, and that's what allows me to gravitate toward it more, because their dynamic, as Mabe said, is what really gets me to this film, or makes me gravitate toward this film.
Yeah.
But yeah, like for me, like my ranking is at 4. I've got Temple of Doom. It's just one that it is like, for the record, I like all the Indiana Jones movies, so I don't think there's a objectively bad one.
Yeah. Look,
Temple of Doom is just the one that I'm the least interested in when I'm watching. I can't wait for when Abe watches Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, watch Raiders of the Lost Ark go to 4.
Look, honestly though, like, there's people I know who
shocked.
Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is their favorite. Like,
wow, I'm genuinely curious now of why they think that one is. I want to hear that. That's really interesting.
Probably they're communist.
I think no, it was a buddy of mine from college, but I'll talk about that after Malcolm.
Well, probably he's a communist.
But yeah, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is my third. I'm just trying to remember which one is higher. I think my second is Raiders, and I think Last Crusade is my first.
Do you have your top 100
I enjoy all
on
those movies.
Letterboxd?
I do. I've just made it private at the moment. Until I actually finalise it.
Yeah, no, it makes sense.
There's a few movies I'm rewatching.
Check for you.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure I've got Last Crusade as my number 1, so Raiders is number 2. But yeah, this is just one of those ones that I enjoy all the movies. Like Last Crusade is definitely one that I really enjoy a lot, just because the story is there, just and all that. But yeah, and also Last Crusade is some of my favorite levels on Lego Indiana Jones. I
Oh,
don't.
Yeah,
That's
it's got the motorcycle
Thank
thing.
you. I just.
Really fun. I remember my
We
brother
need
hated
another
the
Lego.
first level in that game. He hated the first level in that game because it's when you're in Venice and you go into the catacombs, but they made it so that the only two characters who go into the catacombs are Indiana Jones and Elsa, and he didn't want to play as Elsa because obviously I was playing as Indy. He didn't want to play as Elsa. So he kept trying to get Marcus Brody to go in there, but it always cuts to Marcus Brody going, and he'd be like, I don't want to play as her. God, that first game is so
But yeah, I mean,
So fun.
I don't know if anyone else has seen them because I know I haven't because I thought they were just books.
yeah.
But Matt, educate us on the young Indiana
All
Jones.
right, let me educate you guys on the brilliance of one of my favorite TV shows of all time, the
They are
Young
very
Indiana
brilliant.
Jones Chronicles. So in the early '90s, George Lucas, who is he's two things. He is a huge history buff, and he is also someone who loves to push visual effects. So in working with, it was ABC at the time. Oh wow, look at that! I really just have a
Get the
voting.
full
He was working with ABC. That was what the
treatment.
show aired on. He decided to take the character of Indiana Jones and do a twofer thing. He wanted to create a show that could be educational, that could be used in like history classes to teach kids about important times and figures throughout history, and also for ILM and for Lucasfilm to push visual effect because these episodes, not every single episode, but most of these, they were really working on like a lot of the stuff that they worked on in this show ended up being in the prequels, like the map paintings and taking a small army of soldiers and making it much larger. It's really incredible when you look at what they did, but really what this show did so well was the character of Indiana Jones as a young man. Now I'm going to be honest here. I am not a fan of when he's 12. This show is when he's played by the actor Sean Patrick Flannery, who I think is fantastic. I think he does as good a job as River Phoenix in the opening scene of Last Crusade. This show, it goes through Indy's teenage years. He joins the Belgium army in World War One, and it goes through that, and he ends up working for the French Secret Intelligence, and then goes into his early college years. And it's such a fun show. It's incredibly fun, and you really get to see, especially in the later seasons, Indy kind of learning things, and you see so many moments to where Indy's kind of learning, and you see Sean Patrick Flannery setting up to be Harrison Ford. Unfortunately, the show didn't really get the buzz that it needed. It got canceled, unfortunately. But it is so this show around the time that Kingdom of Crystal Skull came out, History Channel had the syndication rights for it. And so every Saturday morning, because what George Lucas did when this went to home media in the 90s on VHS, what he did was he took two episodes that were kind of connected. He actually brought back Sean Patrick Flannery and some of the actors to do sort of these insert scenes, and he essentially, they're all movies now. They're all feature length episodes. And so they would show one every Saturday morning. So my Saturday mornings for a while was just getting up and watching, and this really fueled my fandom of Indiana Jones in a lot of ways. A lot of the reasons why I think I'm such an Indiana Jones fan is really because of this show and the movies. The show used to be on Amazon Prime. Unfortunately, it's not anymore. I'm hoping that's because Disney is working on a deal to get it on Disney Plus, so more people can see it. Because so it aired on ABC, but I think you can see, yeah. CBS did the DVD release. So I think CBS probably still has some ownership. I mean, also CBS is Paramount, so that's probably also it as well. So Paramount, network. It can also come to, or Paramount Plus is their new thing. It can also come on there. I really hope they do. If not, try to see if your local library, because these are a little expensive and they're worth the money. But if you haven't seen the show before, try to see if your local library has access to them. Or, the last I checked, the entire series is on YouTube for free. And not in bad quality, actually pretty decent quality. Some episodes I would recommend if you don't want to watch the whole series, because I'll go through and I'll recommend a few episodes that I think would be good. Let me just make sure that I'm reading everything here correctly. Spring Break Adventure is probably my favorite episode of Young Indiana Jones. I think it's a fantastic episode. I would definitely recommend that. Love's Sweet Song is another great one. That's the episode when Indy ends up enlisting in the Belgian army. Trenches of Hell is another incredible episode if you really want to see all the stuff when he's in the war. So essentially just the whole second volume, I would suggest. But Trenches of Hell, Masks of Evil is another great one. That's a good one. I tend to watch that one around Halloween because Indy, there's a section of the story to where he travels to Transylvania and he fights Dracula, essentially. It's a little crazy, but they even
Wow.
in the episode that make like there's some stuff. I mean, it's Indiana Jones, so it's not. I mean, he fought a dude who ripped the guy's heart out. So that's a great one. Treasure of the Peacock's Eye is fantastic, and then finally, one of the most famous episodes of the show that I'll recommend is Mystery of the Blues. It's a great show about Indy when he's in college, and he's working for a jazz bar where there's a murder, and him and his roommate Elliot Ness. If anyone knows the film Untouchables or anything about Al Capone, Elliot Ness is Kevin Costner in The Untouchables, which is a funny connection because Sean Connery is in The Untouchables. But also it's very famous because Harrison Ford, that's the episode that he was in. He's in the beginning and the end of the episode, and he kind of narrates the episode, so it's a very famous episode. So it's an incredible show. I love it. If anyone out there ever wants to talk about Young Indiana Jones, if you think there aren't fans, hit me up. I would love to have a conversation about this show. And
I have a question.
Yes.
Who plays Young Indiana Jones?
That would be Sean Patrick Flannery plays Indiana Jones.
And he's known for anything else?
He is in the Boondock Saints. That's the only other thing that I know him from.
But Manning, have you watched Young Indiana Jones? Do you have anything you want to add about that?
I have. I've only watched Volume 1 because the local libraries, everybody, gotta love them. As a kid, I saw it and was like, "This looks amazing. I love Indiana Jones. Let's watch it," and I did. I haven't seen the other two. I didn't know they existed, and I'm kind of sad now because for some reason, I didn't know how many there were, and there was only one at the library, which is the first volume. The other two escaped me, so I didn't get to see the war. It was the end. It was the last one was when he joined the Belgian army. I like the ones with him as a kid. At least the dynamic between him and his father when they go on these different countries. To me, I'll never forget when he and his father, I believe, in the not the Colosseum, somewhere in Rome.
travels with the father when he gets lost, and Indy's father has to go and find him. Yeah,
that one is really good. That's a great episode. But no, I think there's some great gems with great scenes and great moments, and I wish that they were easily accessible.
Well, they're all on YouTube, so.
Oh, they are? Oh, well.
Yeah, I can.
Okay, then.
Yeah.
Now that you've mentioned that, no, I'm all for giving this a look, because I really enjoyed them. That first season, the first volume is something I think people should check out if you're interested at all in Indiana Jones.
But yeah, we are reaching the end because I do want to try and keep late night to under 2 hours.
Perfect.
I did actually. I didn't actually have a bracket set for this. That's because I
Aw,
ran out of time and didn't have time to actually
That's
organise
alright.
one.
Womp, womp, boro.
But Matt, what is some of your favourite scenes from Indiana Jones?
some of my
What the
favorite
hell are you
scenes.
doing, Abe?
What is
I
it
got
doing?
for whatever reason the freaking GI Joe movie doesn't want to stay on my stack. It's being an asshole right now, so I'll have to deal with that later. Some of my favorite scenes. Whew. Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I'll try to go through. A favorite scene from Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I love the entire opening. Area 51 thing from when Indy gets thrown out of the car. He picks up the hat and he puts it on the silhouette.
That is really
I
nice.
think it's an incredible introduction. I also love the moment when he whips the light, he swings, he's about to get on the truck, and then like classic Indiana Jones, he flies back into the next truck. He's like, "Damn, I thought that was closer." I already mentioned I love the scene with him, Mutt, and Marion in the back of the truck when he's learned that Mutt's his son. And also, I love the very ending, the wedding between Marion and Indy, and Mutt picks up the hat, is about to put it on, and Indy walks past and picks it off. Last Crusade, we already talked about. I love the trial sequence. I think it's fantastic. And it builds up to the leap of faith. And I think what's so great is that throughout the movie, Indy's kind of established that he's not really much of a believer, like his father certainly. And at this moment, it's a leap of faith. It's he has to put this belief into this thing he was raised on, and obviously it's all an illusion, but it's such an incredible moment. Raiders of the Lost Ark, God, there's so many. The entire Cairo fight is so much fun, and it gets hectic, and there's obviously the Swordman sequence, which is one of the most famous moments in movies, which only happened because Harrison Ford was super sick that day.
Yep.
There was supposed to be, you can find on YouTube, I'm sure, like sort of the rehearsal stuff. There was supposed to be a full fight, but Harrison Ford was like really sick, and he just went to Steven Spielberg and was like, "What if I just shoot this guy?" And Steven was like, "That's a good idea." The truck sequence as well, one of the greatest adventure scenes ever. I mean, from he gets in the truck, he gets shot in the arm, he gets thrown out the front, he's climbing over the bottom, then he's hanging onto that, climbs back up, gets onto the truck. And then Temple of Doom. It comes down to the bridge scene. It's my favorite scene out of the whole series, I think. Everything great about Indiana Jones is in this scene, because George Lucas always intended Indiana Jones to be, and Steven Spielberg, I'm sorry, both of them always intended Indy to be a hero who gets in over his head a lot, and this is the scene. Like, I love the moment where so Indy's on the bridge, and Mole Rum's called for his guys, and they're coming at him from both ends, and Willie screams, and she's like, "Watch your back!" And he kind of like, there's this great moment where he has the sword. You're a jerk. He has the sword, and he looks to both his sides, and then just kind of quietly to himself, Harrison Ford just goes, "Oh shit!" Like, he's just like, "Oh no!" And then it just leads to they're all on the bridge. He's like looking around, and he's like, "Oh, okay." He puts his leg through, and then short round, La Sufasa. Hold on, lady, we're going for a ride. Oh my God, is he nuts? He no nuts. He crazy. Moram, prepare to meet Kali in hell, and then just boom, just cuts the bridge. It's incredible filmmaking. I love it. So yeah, those are some of my favorite scenes off the top of my head.
Manning, what are some of your favourite scenes from Indiana Jones?
One of my favorite scenes, bar none, is of course the opening scene. But I think we're all gonna of Raiders of the Lost Ark. We're all gonna say that in particular is kind of the quintessential, the boulder rolling. We all know about that. Well, I know Abe may not probably say it because he fell asleep, but
I was like in the middle.
oh, okay. Well, then he saw that part. That scene's I've always loved. I've always loved like the scenes where it's like the debrief where you have them explaining to Indy like, okay, this is what we're gonna do, particularly in Raiders, who are like the lost Ark of the Covenant was stolen, and he starts to say, oh no, this is where it was located. What was that?
Ark of the Covenant, I mean the actual Ark of the
exposition.
Covenant, the stone tablets. Yeah, and they're going through how like it was in this holy place, and then it was raided, and it's in the city of Tanis.
I really enjoy that. I really enjoy just like that just like they're setting up the story, and it gets ready, and it gets you ready and hyped up for that sense of adventure.
There is also the great moment in that scene to where Indy's just like he's talking about the Ark and all this stuff, and he just goes,
"Oh, yep.
Didn't you go to Sunday school?"
Sunday
and there's
school.
just the one guy with the bow tie who's like, oh, well, you know, he's like, I did.
I did, yeah. I don't know
And then
anything all about
Porkins is the other FBI agent in that scene.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I
Porkins,
didn't realize that. You know, obviously the quintessential like silhouette that we talked about when the sun of Cairo is setting down on him, and it's just him adjusting the hat slightly as the wind blows all around him, and it's just the figure of him against the dunes. Great scene, one of my favorite shots in all of Indiana Jones. Nothing looks better than a good silhouette, in my mind, at least, in my opinion. Some other ones we haven't talked about is the entire bar fight, also in Raiders of the Lost Ark as well too, where we have Miriam actually like be like, "Hey, I'm not going to just take it. I'm gonna fight back. I'm gonna fight back and do something over here." Club Obi-Wan, that's also another fantastic fun scene. Anything with Short Round, I love Short Round. And then the scene where I believe it's where they have everyone at the dinner, and it's like, what's her name? From
Billy?
Thank you, Billy. Yes,
Willie.
where they're Willie. Thank you, Willie. Where the snakes they're eating at the dinner table, and then I believe it's not snakes.
Surprise.
Yes, that's great.
Another great moment in that scene is when he's talking to the prime minister, and he's like, and wasn't it the chief of Turkey who said he would chop off your heads? And he's like, no. It's like, then perhaps your legs. And he goes, no, it wasn't my legs. So he just looks down, and you're like, oh, I know what you're talking about.
I know what you're trying to say in a movie that's also for kids. And then finally, like, some of the great things I love in Crusade is literally the entire last sequence is just phenomenal. I adore it. With the Holy Grail, it's emotionally poignant. It's great when he gets into the castle and they sees his father, and they're just having the great banter the entire time. When they're on the bike and they're having the banter, any moment where just the two of them going off on each other or teaming up or doing something or having interaction, to me is just quintessential Indiana Jones. And then my favorite action sequence of all time that is Indiana Jones is also in Raiders, excuse me. Temple? Is in Temple. No, not Temple.
Last
Crusade. Last Crusade. My brain's like, wait, which one? Crusade. It's when they're at the tank. The entire tank sequence where you're also having him and his father and his cavalcade of his merry band of individuals trying to take out a Nazi tank. It's genuinely an exciting, thrilling ride. And fun fact, I believe this is the case. Didn't he staple the hat to his head because it kept falling off?
No. So there's this behind the scenes, which was actually the teaser for the movie, which is because the hat famously, whenever Harrison Ford was trying to ride the horse, it would just fly off. And so the staple gun wasn't loaded, but as a joke, Harrison Ford took a staple gun and went, all right, let's go again. Yeah, no. He did
I was literally about to say.
No, they would not let the main star of their movie staple a fedora to his head.
If anyone would do it, Harrison Ford would absolutely do it.
Harrison Ford, I think people don't give him the credit for what he did. I mean, he literally broke his back in the making of Temple of Doom. Because he like in the Raiders pulled behind that for a lot of it, and they were just shooting sand up in his face. Like he took that role very seriously.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine Harrison Ford stapling the fedora to his head for real. Was like, right, I'm going right into any contract for any movie I do that I must always have 4 dooms. I'm not enduring the pain to pull this hat out off my
Oh my
head.
god, just all the movies he does. So like, yeah, so like, what's the movie that's totally working girl?
Han Solo suddenly gets a
Well, actually,
fedora,
by the time, well, I guess yeah, in Force Awakens, but then like, so like a working girl is just like his character just wears a fedora the entire movie. I sleep with this fedora. This fedora is on my head.
But, I mean, I still think it would be funnier for Force Awakens because just having Han Solo just randomly having to wear a fedora for the movie because for whatever reason they find one floating in space or something.
If you look at his costume, actually, the costume, that jacket he wears is a very Indiana Jones-ish jacket, actually. So maybe that was kind of the reference. But I think that'd be a little bit, which is funny if that was too on the nose because Indiana Jones is full of on-the-nose callbacks. Like in Temple of Doom, there's there's 2 moments. When he gets the Shankara stones, when he looks up, there's the snake, and he tips his hat to it, and of course, there's the 2 swordsmen. They're like, and he goes for his gun, and he doesn't have. He's like,
It's not there.
And then, but the best callback is, well, actually no, because in Kingdom of Crystal Skull, you see the Ark is in Area 51. But then the best is when they're in the catacombs, and Elsa is looking at the thing. She's like, "What's this?" And he's like, "The Ark of the Covenant." She's like, "Are you sure?" He's like, "Pretty sure."
But anyway, moving on to Abe, who's now suddenly in a disco.
No, I think that's the popo coming for him.
But
I was about to say that's what it looks like.
But Abe, what are some of your
come out
favorite?
with your hands up. We want the popcorn tins you stole from the theater.
But Abe, what are
I was just playing with my back.
what are some of your
I have
favorite scenes?
That
Look,
you remember.
Look, I usually remember feelings more than memories. No, I really like. Oh my god, I'm gonna sound like an asshole. I really like the ending of the Last Crusade. Like I do. Like I remember watching that. That was the moment that I said, "Damn, this is fun." Well, that movie was entertaining, but that put the cherry on the cake. That ending.
Junior.
Okay.
What is with this Junior? Let's just
The opening
Jones
of the
Junior.
I'm just gonna say scenes from the Last Crusade, which is the one I remember the most. I think the opening of the Last Crusade is fantastic. Like I love that when he's on the train and I don't know who that guy and the snake and everything that happened.
Fedora
And,
is his name. That's the name they give him is Fedora. You lost, they kid. That doesn't mean you have to be happy about it.
When they eat the monkey brains, does that count?
Choose a
that
monkey
bit was-
brains.
Yeah, look, Matt is gonna quote every single thing I say. So when they start eating the I don't know, when they shoot the woman in the window. Hey, you could quote that one because that one doesn't exist.
I was gonna say, I'm like, that's not a. I'm like sitting there trying to think of like.
Look,
Like,
I'm
is
gonna
that
check
happening?
mine.
But anyway, like for me, some of my favorite scenes is I really enjoy the scene in Area 51 from Kingdom of Crystal Skull when they're trying to find the Ark, and then they sort of the whole gunpowder scene.
They're trying to find the alien body.
Oh, yes.
You know what scene I
These
like
things
too? Sorry guys, I saw it and I said I need to do the scene where they are in the it's in the when they're like in the library.
Yeah,
they're,
that's
like,
in Last
discover-
Crusade.
Oh yeah,
X
That
marks
one
the
was
spot.
yeah. Sorry, yeah. I like that one. Sorry, Malcolm. I just
I mean, that was one of the most infuriating parts of the Last Crusade.
Oh, where you have to try to build
Amiga video game. We have to try and figure out where.
No, I've played the DOS version, and that pisses me off because you have to find the right place to slam the thing, or else the Nazi soldier comes and arrests you.
Yeah,
I can't get past it. I can't get into the catacombs.
yeah. I think the DOS version is the same as the Amiga one.
Probably,
I think it's the same
Yeah.
same one. Yeah.
The one thing I love, Malcolm, about that, because I've watched the playthrough, is there's this scene where you meet Hitler and they literally give you an option to punch Adolf Hitler and then you get a game over because you get killed. But I'm like, that's pretty awesome, though. They let you kill him.
Yeah, because I think I remember passing that level, that part of the level, just because I was like, oh fuck this, I'm going to look up and walk through down, just so it's like. But anyway, but that does bring us to the end of late night.
Can I just say one more scene that I think is great is from Last Crusade, because I didn't. It's when they're on the Zeppelin and Indy and Henry are having like the conversation, and it's great because I love how he's like, the last time we had a conversation like this, I was drinking a milkshake. Oh, what do we talk about? We never really talked. It's like it's just like, did I ever tell you to clean behind your ears, to go to bed? No, I let you have your privacy. And then he's like, you taught me that, because he's like, I taught you self-reliance. It's like, you taught me that I was less important than people who were dead. He's like, all right, I'm here right now. What do you want to talk about? And he's like, I don't have anything. And a great thing about that scene is Sean Connery sweats a lot. So because it's all shot from up here, he was just wearing his boxers, and Harrison Ford was like, okay. And so Harrison Ford just took his pants off, and they did that scene in their boxers.
Are you serious?
Yep. Because Sean Connery was like, I'm going to just profusely sweat. No one can see it. And Harrison Ford was like, all right, here you go. Yep. I have watched the making
but anyway,
of those movies so many times. I know all these things.
But this
that is some dynamic lighting,
Abe. End of another episode of late. It really is. This does bring us to the end of another episode of Late Night. We're brought to you today by Warner Brothers Discovery. If you got any complaints about some of the things you said, just take it from them.
We were brought to you by that. Oh Lord. Oh my God. You know what this means, Abe? All of us have to think of a really shitty caption, and Abe, you gotta make a Take-Free logo that's that exact design. Like that exact design, and just like we gotta think of that really. You know what? What's the caption for Warner Discovery?
The stuff that dreams are made of.
Oh, so Take-Free Productions, where your dreams come to die.
Where your dreams come to die.
Where your online
like how there's like the bumper stickers to where it's like, my kid is an honor student, and then there's people with the bumper stickers that are like, my kid sells weed to your honor student. That's what we need. We need a version of it.
But anyway, I'm probably going to be using this one a lot on Rankum now. Now that I've downloaded it.
He chose poorly. Which actually, that meme doesn't make any sense, because the line he says is, he chose poorly, in reference to Donovan, and then it's, you have chosen wisely.
But anyway,
that's true. That's true.
Anyway, before we get confused on memes and misquoted stuff, Matt, we can move on you online.
You guys, as always, can find me at Kern_Matthew on Twitter, MattMovies611 on YouTube, and right here as host of two shows. First one is the Fandom Podcast. Latest episode went up a couple weeks ago. It's me and Manny.
Still waiting for my
Star Wars. I also have a series, Second Look. An episode is in production on, speaking of Sean Connery, on The Hunt for Red October. That episode's it's going to be a lot of fun. If you're interested in hearing more about my love for Temple of Doom, there is an episode of Second Look on this channel where me and my friend Michael French had a great discussion about Temple of Doom. And speaking of my friend Michael French, I'm going to be promoting this until it happens. July 7th to the 11th, I have been invited to be a part of an online convention called Iconicon. It's really cool. It's with a bunch of YouTube channels. I have a video that's going to be dropping during that. I'm going to be on a bunch of panels. You can find a lot of the information. It's on iconicon.com. The schedule is going to be released in a couple weeks. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I would love if all the Take 3 watchers can go and support me there, because hopefully that means I'll get invited to more of this stuff. And this was obviously a ton of fun talking about one of my favorite topics.
How do you spell that?
Icon, just icon.
ICONICON.
You can see my picture
we
on
spelled
there.
it.
You see my picture on the presentations is my MacGyver cosplay, because that was the only really good picture I had. I was like, hey, you can use that.
It works.
No, the reason I asked is I tried googling it. I came up with some font thing. But anyway, Manny, we can find you online.
You can find me here at Take 3 at basically here premiering on right now. I'm currently in the works of trying to design a new logo and a new intro for the Gone with the Wind podcast when we return.
That's why you have me.
No, I know, but I want to be able to do an intro for fun. This is something I enjoy. Don't worry.
Self-reliant.
I want to teach myself self-reliance. But I have ideas I want to run past you guys, but we'll do that later.
Still with the racist stereotypes.
What do you?
Yeah, man. What did a Scottish person ever do to you, Manning? Hashtag cancel.
Wow, I just won't. I'll just never use another accent ever again, even an American accent. Wait, so I just won't talk. No, but you can also find me. I guest starred. I guest starred this past week Renegade Pop Culture with Mike K. His podcast about animation, where we talked about Demon Slayer, an anime that recently had taken over the airwaves for the past few years at this point, and it's one of the few that I've actually watched and really enjoyed. So go check them out on their podcast or their website, Renegade Pop Culture. And then I believe that is it at this time. Check my YouTube channel. I am behind on a lot of things, but you know what? That's okay, because life goes at you fast, and sometimes you gotta catch all the fast balls.
Pretty fast, so you don't stop and look around every once in a while. You can miss
it.
Abe, we can be for you online.
You can find me party. No. I'm gonna stop because I have to be moving my finger. No, I'm gonna continue. You can follow me on Twitter at Abraham25, where I give love to Mamma Mia 2. Here we go again.
Wait,
and
what?
Shrek 2 all day, all night. Also, you cannot find me on other podcasts because nobody invites me. So hopefully I get invitations. No, just kidding. I don't want to be in your podcast. I don't care about what
Abe, I want to do an episode of the Fandom Podcast on something. I mean,
please, I'd listen to that.
Like, please think of a topic.
Yeah, but people like people are scared I'm gonna say something bad or
but it's not live.
It's my show.
Probably I will.
Matt can cut it.
We could do a whole episode on Lily James and just talk about her filmography.
Well,
Can we talk about Mamma Mia the whole episode?
Sure. You want to do that? I've seen the first one. James Bond was in it.
And he's in the second one too.
Oh, well, then I can watch the second one.
But anyway, you can find me on Take 3 hosting Rankum every Saturday. Next week's topic is top 12 Danny Elfman movie scores. And that should be interesting. You could also find me hosting late night every couple of weeks because I've decided to make this bi-monthly.
It's harder than you think, isn't it?
Hey, it was mostly Ryan that was blocking you for that.
True, you're right.
We miss you. We miss you, Ryan.
Miss you, Ryan.
Come back. But you can also find me over on the Full Metal channel hosting Full Metal Classic every Sundays, and also Full Metal Random. And next week's topic of Full Metal Random is going to be Boy Meets World. And competing in that is going to be Stephen Boyd, Bruce Allen Boyd, Alec Miller, and Richard Schwartz.
Cena.
And that, I don't know.
But with that being said, I'm just going to keep them going because Abe said he was being kind to them. But until next time,